What's up, kids? It's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. In case you're new, my name is Damien, and we got a special episode. Not really that special, I guess. Just talking shit. But we are sponsored by Cool Dude Inc. There is a link below that you should go down, click on, check out some of the designs, order them, affordable t-shirts, making you look good. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. I never tell you guys to leave a comment. Comments are encouraged, and I will respond, like, especially if they're questions. I mean, I will always give a little heart. Like, if you say something, I'll be like, heart. But if you have a question, or if I fuck something up, but feel free to correct me. Hopefully, I don't know if you can or not, but hopefully, because I live right next to the pool, hopefully you can't hear those kids, like, screaming and yelling, because it's like, it's a Monday night. Can you hear that? And it's late. They're playing in the pool, but it makes a nice segue because tonight's movie is Pool Party Massacre, which is what I'd like to do to these fucks because I live that close to the pool where it's like I can hear you guys all the fucking time. So this movie's kind of it's like an 80s throwback to, 80s slashers, kind of a cheese fest that you would see on USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear and Gilbert Godfrey back in the day. And the problem I have, because a lot of people are doing these 80s throwback flicks, and they're usually thrasher oriented, but the problem is they have to pick like the cuntiest of characters to exaggerate, and there's never like a cool character in the mix. And then you're kind of hoping it's like, well, if all the characters are this douchey, then maybe that means I can root for the killer. But the killer ends up being like this Wish version of a villain from the 80s, so you're like, well, fuck. Now I don't know who to root for, and I'm stuck here with bad dialogue. But that being said, Blair is our main character, and her parents are going out of town. And they've given her permission to have a pool party. The first rule of pool party is no hard drugs. The second rule of pool party is no threesomes. The third rule of pool party is don't let anybody in our bedroom except for the dog. When I was a teen, I always figured my mom would assume that I was going to have parties when they go out of town. So I always figure it's a smart move. Say, all right, no parties. When we're gone, no parties. Because, like, if you're just like, yeah, have a party, when you come back, your place is going to be unrecognizable. But if you got the kid living in this fear of like, hey man, I said no parties, and if there are parties, the kid's going to have a party regardless. But if you tell him no, he's going to at least go out of his way to like make the place look like it did when you left. But if you're like, yeah, go ahead and have a party, when you come back, that place is going to be fucked. So that's a parenting tip. The more you know. But little does anybody know, there's a garden tool killer on the loose, and he's already visited the neighbors in the opening scene. Nancy, Blair's friend since childhood, has come back into town. And it seems like Blair's parents like Nancy a lot more than they do Blair, which is, I don't know, if you watch this movie, it's understandable. But Nancy's brother stops by, and I guess Blair gets rid of him without letting him talk to his own sister. Because they have some kind of weird past, which kind of sets up a little red herring. We've already seen there's a killer. Now we got a dude who's angry. And when Nancy finds out, she's like, what the fuck? But it's weird because Blair and Nancy don't really seem like they're friends. They're just kind of like Nancy even admits, like, because Nancy's home life sucked and Blair's parents were cool at her, so she kind of like admits, like, I was just using her for cable. She kind of stole the line that Gwen gave T.S. and Mallrats. It's like, you had cable. We're about 20 minutes in when the rest of Blair's friends finally show up to the pool party, in a movie with pool party in the title. Bunch of stuck-up hotties. Blair puts her killer mix CD into the CD player in 2017? What? We all have smartphones at about this point? And the girls all begin mingling. Remember the 80s when people mingled? I don't think people mingle anymore. Kelly is having problems with her boyfriend, so her friends tell her she should dump him because he's a loser And he still collects toys. Yo, fuck these chicks. That guy needs to go out and find himself some real bitches. Then they reconsider because he's rich, and she should probably call him up and go work things out. So she goes inside to call him, and she gets killed with a hammer. Rightfully so. Tiffany, played by porn star Alexis Adams, which, totally honest, I admit it in my Thanksgiving video that I knew who Wanda Lust was. I did not know until I was doing a little research today that chick in this movie is a porn star. But just so you know, now you can go get on Google and look up some of her other films. Even though they all agreed that there was no boys allowed, her boyfriend and his older brother, Clay, show up. When me and my friends were in high school, we used to write on the board. There was a whiteboard, a dry erase board, and we used to write "No girls allowed." But we were actually being ironic because we knew no girls were coming, so we were preempting, so we didn't have to feel bad, so we didn't have to cry, take it out on each other, like we did anyway. Troy carries Tiffany into the house so they can get it on, leaving Clay alone with the girls. He hits play on his ghetto blaster and plays his party mix tape. I feel like the mixtape concept got way more popular once we all converted to CD. I mean, it was a lot easier to go from CD to tape than it was to go tape to tape, even with high-speed dubbing. The music is pissing off the old lady next door. When she goes over to complain, she gets a pickaxe to the head. Is it normal for a non-serial killer to have a pickaxe just hanging out in his garage? Or is that just kind of like, you're a miner or you're a serial killer? You don't just have a pickaxe hanging out. And then we get our first boobage scene. I find the lack of boobage in this film disappointing because this kind of feels like the kind of film that would rely on it to make you stay until the end. But the kills aren't bad considering how low budget this is in the daylight. While Clay strikes out with the girls at the pool, Troy and Tiffany meet their doom. But meanwhile, outside by the pool, Clay explains the Fight Club. Coincidentally, I happen to be wearing this shirt. I was not planning to record today, but I was like, oh, there's so many different Fight. This is one of 3 Fight Club references I have, and he starts explaining the Fight Club Ferris Bueller fan theory, which is not completely original, and it's almost like the writer of this film decided to go like a Tarantino, Kevin Smith, where you try and pull random things, like things that people actually talk about, except Tarantino and Kevin Smith get away with it in my book because they're the first ones I saw do it, and Tarantino was the first one I saw do it where it's like, wow, he's just talking about random shit. And then Kevin Smith did it, but he was more in my universe, so it's like those two got the pass. And this theory, because I'd also seen this theory before I watched this movie, where, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Fight Club, I won't say, but the theory is that Cameron and Ferris are the same guy, and all day long it's like, there is no Ferris. Cameron's just been sitting in his house all day imagining all that shit happening. But at first, I mean, we enter this movie and the dialogue's like a little too over the top to be funny, like not offensive, just like, who the fuck talks like this? Like, these characters are all kind of over the top. And then you have kind of an unoriginal theory. It's like I Googled and copied and pasted something I saw on the internet into a dialogue box to make something. And all the while, it's not necessary to the story because Clay's still striking out. It's not like he won the girls over. It's not like they're thinkers. He tried to introduce thought to thoughtless chicks. Pizza Dude shows up and gets killed. And I kind of wonder, because originally I was thinking, like, man, Pizza Dudes have the worst luck in slasher flicks. But then I thought, wait a minute. Is this an homage / ripoff / whatever? Because I could think of the original Slumber Party Massacre, where the pizza dude gets killed and they eat the pizza anyway. And I thought, they get a bad break. But then it's like, wait a minute. There's some stuff in here. I think this movie has a lot of Easter eggs. They just don't work because the movie's not good. I think the pizza dude is an Easter egg for Slumber Party Massacre. But right after that, since Clay realizes he struck out with a girl, so he goes in the bathroom and starts jerking it. And then he gets killed before he even can climax, which is just fucking rude, you know? Let him have his last hurrah. At minute 54:11, give or take, because it is Tubi, it's hard to be sure how accurate the timer is because they have commercials. Random commercials. Nancy is the first girl to actually enter the pool in an 81-minute movie with pool in the title. Inside, Jasmine spills the drink she was mixing all over herself, so now she's got to take a shower, and we get some boobage. But then she gets weed whacked, and I'm not sure exactly that would kill you. It'd probably hurt, and be really fucking annoying, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's just a little... I guess it could. But those things aren't as brutal as they look. Brittany finds Jasmine's corpse. I'm sorry, I'm not introducing these characters, and IMDb is actually worse than me because there's no pictures. This movie doesn't introduce them. They're just like a group of girls show up, and I had to figure out their names. IMDb doesn't have pictures. I'm winging it. I'm doing pretty good though. I figured out all their names through Google and IMDb. Here for you guys, man. See, I'm explaining shit. But Brittany goes up and finds Jasmine's corpse, and then she gets killed. So basically, if you go upstairs, it's your ass. Blair and Nancy have a heart-to-heart, not realizing that they're the last alive. Blair goes into the house, and Nancy gets cacked in the head with a sledgehammer. Inside the house, one by one, Blair starts discovering the corpses of her friends. And then she finds the killer. It's her brother, Blaine. It's a good one. Coincidentally, he is also the writer and director. And then we get our big plot twist. Dun dun dun! Blaine and Blair are in on this together. Only Blaine has fallen in love with killing people. He's finally found something that he's good at. Which puts a damper in Blair's plan, because Blair's plan was to become a star, because all her friends, because she's a lone survivor of a mass murder, but now she's got a brother that doesn't want to stop. And he doesn't really allude to the fact that he wants to kill her, but he's just like, It's like he's killed. There was supposed to be a frame job. The old man down the street, they were going to pin it on. But Blaine's out of hand. It's like, well, I killed the guy we were going to pin it on. I mean, it's just fun. I'm good at it. What do you want to do? But meanwhile, they think Nancy's dead. She's not. She's conscious. She's listening to the whole thing. And Blaine runs after her. And it is kind of clever, I guess, the twist. Because the twist is, well, other than them being in on it together, Blaine wants to be the most famous killer. Blair wants to be famous for surviving it. But it's kind of like your brother and sister. It's going to be really obvious that one of you guys are full of shit. If not both. Nancy makes a run for it. She outsmarts Blaine. She grabs the machete that was used to kill Brittany. She hits Blaine with the machete, seemingly killing him. But then she runs in the next room and finds Blair and her axe. And Blair starts kind of doing my plan was to do this. I was going to be the best, the mastermind. You know, the bad guy always talks too much, where he explains all the things going to happen and gives the good guy just enough time to counter him, which she does. She bitch slaps her with Tiffany's head. Then she grabs the axe and splits Blair's head open, killing her. Then we hear the cop sirens. Always showing up once there's no more left to see. But is Blaine still alive? The end. Alright, my afterthought is it harder to shoot a movie after dark? Because this would definitely have benefited and felt more like a horror movie had it had the after dark feeling like Slumber Party Massacre, which was referenced earlier. Because I've noticed I keep pointing out that if If you're going to do low budget, then maybe you should be in the dark. That way we can't tell how low budget it is. But maybe it's harder. I don't know. I've never made a film. So maybe they do it in the light because it's easier. Maybe, I don't know. This is a question. Actually, if you've made it this far in the video, answer that in the comments. If you know the answer, if you're a fan, this movie does have a certain amount of a following. I've talked to some people who are like, yeah, this movie's awesome. And this movie is what it is. This is a movie I was looking for when I was in high school, but it just didn't exist yet. The Badass Award goes to Nancy for being the only likable character in the damn thing and taking Blair out by any means necessary. What did we learn? Survival tales. Don't just let your kid have a party when you're out of town. Don't jerk off in other people's bathrooms, especially if you're at a party. Find some decent friends. Don't hang out with assholes. There's no rule that says you have to hang out with people. That's it for this episode. Catch you guys next time. Take care.